Hi, my name's Fiona and I normally work at Southbourne Library, and today I'd like to share another story which I've written. This one is set in Bournemouth Library. And just to clarify before we start, only official assistance animals are allowed in our libraries, and a lot of the activities and events that are mentioned in the story, unfortunately, we're not able to provide at the moment, but we're really looking forward to getting back to those as soon as it's safe to do so. So, on with the story. It's called Comfort and Joy. There was a dog in the library. Get it out, said Val, firmly but kindly as ever, from her place behind the desk. Get it out, screeched an old lady who had a mortal fear of flea bites since an itchy incident in childhood. I'll get it out, said Phil, the caretaker, who was passing by on his way to unblock the toilets yet again, and was secretly a bit of an animal whisperer. But before any of them had time to eject the cute curly-haired canine, the dog had trotted round the corner to the children's zone, for she knew she was meant to be here in the library, as she was no ordinary dog, and came with a mission. The dog ever so gently lay down next to a girl who was struggling to read from a large picture book. She curled up and rested her nose against the little girl's leg. She looked up at the girl's face with seeming adoration and interest in every word. And as the girl read aloud, every word became louder and more confident, and soon she had read the whole story. It was of the oddest creature the dog had ever heard of, and she hoped she would never have the bad luck to encounter one of those gruffalos. The little girl gave her a pat and a stroke, and thanked Joy, whose name she had spelled out from the blue jacket she was wearing. Next, Joy nudged the knee of a man tapping away with great force at one of the computers. She could tell he was quite stressed from the way his face was red and screwed up. His mutters about, "How do they expect you to do all this stuff online? It's a beep nightmare," also gave it away. As he absent-mindedly stroked Joy's head, she could feel him gradually calm down until he fully noticed she was there and leant down to give her a proper stroke and a back rub, which was always welcome. "I could do with you by my side all the time to help me get through this job applying malarkey," he said. Joy felt it was time to move on. She had noticed a young man choosing books who seemed to be a bit distressed. His hand suddenly flung out sideways and he bit a book hard. Joy was a little shocked. She had been taught biting was always wrong. But seeing how the other man by his side reacted, she realised the young man was one of those people she visited on Thursdays at the day centre. Slowly she moved closer, giving him time to move away if he wanted. But his face broke out in a huge smile, and he suddenly dropped to his knees and enveloped her in the longest hug ever. Joy snuggled into his arms, feeling his heart beat against her side. When the hug finally ended, Joy approached an elderly man reading a newspaper. Perhaps it was the practice from her visits to the care home. Perhaps it was the way he sat, looking up occasionally to watch the goings-on in the library. But she could tell he was very lonely and in need of her company. She stood attentively by his side as he patted her. She sniffed at the pocket of his jacket. Judging by the faint trace smell of dog treats, the lucky dog had not been around for a long, long time. Tears were rolling silently down the man's face, and she could tell whoever used to eat those treats was still dearly missed. She stayed with him until the tears dried up and his strokes changed to a lighter pace. Meanwhile, panting up the stairs came Michelle, looking around worriedly. She spotted the Ask Here desk. It seemed to be the right place to ask. "Have you seen my dog? I was just explaining what we do to one of your customers, and when I next looked down she had gone from my side. It's most unlike her." The faces of the staff changed from looks of disapproval to smiles and laughter. What with all the people after printouts, books, meeting spaces and the like, they'd forgotten the planned visit today from Caring Canines. Together with Michelle, they searched all over the library. Where would her forepaws have taken Joy? Checking out dog-friendly travel ideas? Investigating the books on caring for pets? Or curled up on a comfy chair in Conversation Corner? Eventually they tracked Joy down, making her way back towards her favourite, the children. Val sat back down in front of the computer to continue the mind-bending puzzle of slotting staff into timetables for the week. The old lady smiled at the dock, from a safe distance, of course, and Phil sighed and headed for the toilets. Right, said Michelle, we will now make a start. We are here for all, for meeting and caring, bringing comfort and joy. Joy gave a wag of her tail and an amused bark, for only she and those she had cared for realised this was far from the start of a session as a caring canine at the library that day. The UK-based Caring Canines charity and the work they do, including arranging visits to your organisation, can be found on their website. Support is always welcome. Someone from the charity has read this story and they said it is extremely true to the work they do and the effects that it has on people that they visit. We do hope that they will be able to join us for a coffee morning at some of the libraries in the near future.